Hi everyone, Artie here, the Minister of History. So I wanted to do a video because, as some of you guys might know, if you've read my blog, you'll see that I actually have been doing a history master's degree. I actually started the degree back in October, but I now wanted to create a video because I actually just submitted my first essay, and yeah, I just kind of wanted to update you guys on, what doing a history master's is like. Yeah, so basically I'm doing it at Birmingham University in the UK, doing it by distance learning. So I do it here in Berlin, but all of the content and stuff is on sort of an online portal, and it's mostly self-taught. But, I have tutors available, and we get provided all of the texts and all of that kind of stuff. Why am I doing it? Well, I will say I think the biggest reason I'm doing it is because when I started the ministry, I kind of thought that me talking about history, doing history tours, I felt a bit like an imposter. I had like imposter syndrome, having a history podcast and talking about all of this history without some kind of piece of paper proving that I knew what I was talking about. I know some people might think that that's like, you don't need a piece of paper. All that matters is the passion. And the thing is, the passion I definitely have down, but I do think that having that, that thing proving that you got down and studied and had the discipline to then get that degree, I think it just adds to your credibility. But I will say I don't think it is necessary, but it's just personally something that I wanted to have on my CV, especially if I want to call myself the Minister of History, because most ministers in governments these days have no idea about their portfolios, so I wanted to break that mold. So yeah, as I said, I just submitted my first essay, so I thought I'd give you guys sort of intro to it, and then yeah, maybe I thought I could maybe update you guys every so often on how it's going. Basically, yeah, a little bit more about the actual masters itself. It's called, well, it's just a history masters, history MA. And basically, when we joined, we were then able to pick a specific so-called pathway. So there were different kinds of historical periods where you could focus on. And there was medieval, early modern British, and then contemporary. And I chose the contemporary pathway because it was basically everything Victorian era and after. And that's exactly what I am into. I'm into modern history. I like mostly things post 1900s, pre-World War I Imperial Europe, the First World War, Second World War, Cold War. That's what I'm into, especially living in somewhere like Berlin and giving tours in somewhere like Berlin. So yeah, and as I said, it's a distance learning course. I have a lot of freedom to basically study when I want. There isn't a whole lot of engagement with the professors and with the other students, which is a bit of a shame. But to be honest, I think the freedom I get in being able to study when I want, I think more than makes up for this. And I think it's definitely the thing that I prioritize the most, I think. So that suits me very well. But it may not suit you, but it suits me and my lifestyle very well. So it is a part-time course, and it runs for 2 years. The full-time course is 1 year, and yeah, the part-time course is 2 years, with one module done each semester. And then in the second year, we write a dissertation about essentially whatever we want. It just has to do with what we've been studying, but it can be any question you want. And I think I actually already know what I want to write about, and I'm very, very excited for it. So I will update you guys about that as and when. It's basically assessed by an essay at the end of each module, and then you have the dissertation at the end. And the dissertation is, I believe, 12,000 words. And I think makes up for 50% of the whole mark, the mark of the masters. So yeah, that's basically a little bit about the actual structure of it. A little bit about the course content. So the module I just completed, and which I have just submitted the essay for, was Mass, Society and Modernity. And it was essentially learning about how the world became modern, and like what defines modernism. It was absolutely fascinating. I guess because I grew up in the West, and so I have a very Western dominated perspective of what modernism is. But it really taught me how modernism is very Western skewed, and the idea of being modern is very much a product of Western society, and that actually being modern means different things in different places. Yeah, I learned about things that I never thought that I would learn about, but which I found absolutely fascinating. So things like the fall of the Ottoman Empire, also quite sort of complicated concepts and things as well, like enchanted modernism, the idea that with modern society and the Industrial Revolution and technology, we are not as enchanted by things like religion and you know, superstition and all of that kind of stuff. So, you know, this mix of very interesting topics and super fascinating, and I definitely picked the right pathway. And so, yeah, I just submitted the essay for that, and so when I have received it back, I think I will release it as a blog post, so keep a lookout on the blog. So the module I'm starting now that I've completed the module from the first semester, is actually basically about the modern world since 1945, so since the Second World War, and we're basically going to be learning about mostly how the United States became so culturally and economically dominant. Basically about United States hegemony. That's going to be super interesting, I think, because this is actually a topic that has really fascinated me, because as I've got into history, I have realized just how much impact the United States has had on world history since the Second World War. So we'll be learning about just how that happened. So yeah, keep a lookout on this channel, and I will be releasing an update for you guys about how that module is going, maybe halfway through the semester. A little word on just something that I don't, and you know, I love it all. It's perfect, and I definitely made the right decision. But I will just tell you guys something that I really don't like about the Masters. Well, academia in general, really. And it is just that I hate academia. And you guys might think, well, then why on earth are you doing this History Masters? Well, it's because, as I said, I want this piece of paper and to prove people that I can have the title Minister of History. But it is just something that I've learned I really don't like. So what I mean by not liking academia is I feel like so many of the texts that I've read are just the way that academia is like written. I just find it so pretentious, so like, just so inaccessible, and just I really don't like it. Like I mean, to be fair, a lot of the texts that I've read have actually been fine and perfectly accessible and not too bad, but just so many texts that I've read have just been so overly convoluted with annoying, pretentious academic vocabulary and writing, and I hate it. I really hate it. I just find it, yeah, it's just really not my thing. And that's part of the reason why I set up the ministry, is because I want to make history more accessible and like more, because I hear from so many people on my tours that the reason why they didn't get into history was because their history teacher was at school was so bad. And so that's part of the reason why I wanted to set up the ministry, is because having a good teacher who explains it well, weaves stories in, it just makes all the difference. Yeah, that's just a little thing that I don't like about it, but I'm prepared to swallow it because, you know, yeah, even though academia is not my thing, the course content more than makes up for it. Well, anyway, guys, thank you for listening or watching. And yeah, when I get my marked essay back, I will publish it on the ministry blog on the Ministry of History website. So yeah, do keep a lookout. Thank you for watching or listening, and I will see you guys for the next update of my History Masters. Bye.